Hello everyone, it's Mike Levin from MikeLevinSEO.com. I'm out walking the big guy. It's, I believe, September 21st, Sunday morning, around 9 a.m. and I'm up to user interface design and implementation on the Pipulate project. And the last time I did a project like this, which was over 5 years ago at this point, I avoided user interface design and development by fully embracing Google Docs, Google Spreadsheets in particular, so that became the user interface, and all the configuration was automatically pre-done by convention and populated a tab in a spreadsheet which you could go in and make adjustments to, and then just hit the one button, the bookmarklet, to say go. And because I'm supporting CSV files and other databases in the background now, I can't go that route. And 5 years ago, there also was not the proliferation and propagation of all these various JavaScript user interface building assistance libraries. I mean, there were a few of them. You know, Yahoo offered one, and for Ajaxy stuff there was the prototype.js and Rico libraries, but now there's so many. The biggest thing is narrowing down which to use. And since I'm in this very much Python micro framework now, I've actually avoided as many as I could so far, and the closest thing I'm using to it is what I incorrectly named on previous videos, but it's two libraries: the more general WT forms for building forms and doing validation and stuff, and Flask-WTF, which provides the integration of WT forms with the Flask micro framework, and it provides some cross-site scripting support and the ability to embed forms really easy into Jinja 2 templates. And that might end up being all I need, but chances are somewhere along the line I'm going to need at least jQuery, and I might look at things like the Bootstrap JS library, which I used not long ago on a different project. And of course there's Skeleton CSS if all I need is targeting different mobile devices and platform sizes. But I have a little bit of discovery there. I guess I'm going to start out trying to avoid as much of that as possible and just use what I installed for form building. And what is that form? Well, it's almost like an interstitial screen. I still plan on using bookmarklets so that you're either looking at a Google spreadsheet or a website in general. You hit the bookmarklet, and then if it's a Google spreadsheet, it flips you over to Pipulate with the Google document key pre-populated. And if it's a website in general, it flips you over to the Pipulate user interface, offering to start a crawl or doing some other, row populating mechanism. Like if you were on Twitter, it would offer tweet capture, that sort of thing. And then lastly, if there's no bookmarklet involved, if you just go to that Pipulate page, there's going to be the ability to upload a CSV file, and then click the Pipulate button to do the question mark replacements and subsequently download it. So this is all kind of open-ended right now. I'm not going to do any sort of real design spec. I'm just going to jump into it head first, do the Google spreadsheet case first because it's easiest, and then the CSV because it's most broadly applicable and makes the whole system very generic and not tied to Google Spreadsheets. And then the last stuff is really expansion, because there is no crawl built into the system yet, or tweet capture. And as soon as I do that, it's not going to be a simple form like document key or file upload. It's going to have to support options like how many pages of the crawl, unless I have like wizards that kick off when you tell it to go ahead. But really, say you want to crawl, there's all these parameters for a crawl. Say you're doing tweet capture, there's all these parameters for tweet capture. And So as those parameters change, so does the form. So there will at least be 3 areas of the form. One which is the document key, another which is the file upload, and then a third which dynamically changes and adjusts based on the custom behavior you're trying to do. And consequently, the need to think ahead to user interface building libraries, because they're going to have to be those dynamic things, like when it's a crawl, the form adjusts one way, when it's tweet capture, the form adjusts another way, and allowing the ability of all sorts of customizability and expansion sort of tied to custom formulas and custom behaviors that you'll be able to plug in. So I'm thinking through these issues now, and I'm really just keeping the complex stuff in mind while I do the first pass of the easy stuff, which when complete, Pipulate will be ready to go, ready to download, ready to run on your servers. If you're using a Raspberry Pi, it'll just be some very rote point-by-point instructions, if you even need that at all. I'll probably make a SD image file to download with minimal configuration, like your Google login credentials that you have to set yourself. Or if you're on some other sort of hardware or your own desktop, if it's Linux/Unix compatible, just maybe a script that you would trigger off. And it should immediately become something incredibly useful for people in the field of SEO, search engine optimization, or social media, who have things to record and capture on an ongoing basis. And it'll probably dovetail into things like sentiment analysis and all that fancy, wonderful stuff that's expensive from other providers. Anyway, thanks for joining me, and hope to talk to you again soon, and don't forget to subscribe.